Welcome back to another episode of Your Life, Your Story, Rise Up. Hello, friends. I'm back. Woo! Happy 2024. Oh my gosh, it's been a minute, hasn't it? You see, I took some time off over the holidays, as most of us do, right? But it wasn't enough. So I found myself taking a little bit more time in January. But something you guys should know about me is that's not news to me, right? Like I'm just an all in or all out type of person. And so I was kind of thinking about this and I'm like, man, I really got to get going on the podcast. And I thought about the episode that I shared with you all last year with Hope Pedraza. And we were talking about human design. Great episode. If you haven't listened to it, go back. It's pretty awesome. But she basically said that on the episode was that, oh, you're a manifesting generator. So you probably get really excited and gung-ho about stuff, but like maybe you don't finish the book or maybe you don't finish this or that. And I'm like, yep, oh, guilty. Yes, that's me. So, but here's the thing. When I say that I'm all out, like I want you to know that I'm not really all out. There's something that's usually in my life that is going on behind the scenes. I mean, how many of you can relate to that, right? Like something maybe for you, you're not going all in at work or not showing up 100% at work right now because you got little ones at home or your marriage is falling apart or you're acting as a caregiver to a sick mom or dad or grandparent. And so something else in your life is taking priority at that point in your time, in your life, right? So I also think about, so that's one scenario, right? Something's always going on behind the scenes. We can't give 100% to everything, right? But I also think when I say behind the scene, for me, I'm also referring to that voice in my head. Like you've heard me refer to this voice in my head as Margot, right? She's that nagging inner critic who just really loves to tell me how much I suck, like on a daily basis. Like, not kidding. And she's loud. She is so loud, you guys. But then there's this third voice. There's this third thing that I would say that sometimes is going on behind the scenes of our life that, not everybody else is seeing. And that is another voice. That's a voice that comes in a much softer voice, almost like a whisper. That when you hear it, you get a little bit curious because it's a voice of love and counsel and guidance, direction. And yet sometimes like really bizarre things that it's telling you to do. Do you guys know the voice that I'm talking about? It's that subtle voice of God, right? That talks in a whisper and it's best heard when we're quiet, when we're still, when we're not running around with our heads cut off, right? We're not when we're going a mile a minute. And so these past 2 months, this is really what's been going on in my life, kind of behind the scenes. It's been keeping me from really showing up to the podcast and social media in my 100% gung-ho Jill mentality. It's just this soft voice that I keep hearing is becoming very loud in my life, louder and louder. And I can feel just a really huge push that some things are going to be changing this year. And when I say changing, I mean good things. I mean good changes, big changes, maybe a little scary changes. And so I say all that to say, like, even though I may have been a little MIA a little bit, I can reassure you that this time was definitely not wasted. If anything, it was very intentional. And that's actually a funny story. So how many of you have a word of the year? You have a word of the year that's going to be your focus for this year. So I love having a word of the year. Last year I chose the word connected. And let me tell you, the connections that I gained last year was incredible. Like And they just keep building. They just keep building. I have been connected to the most amazing people that I know is only a God thing, right? But also just connected in my family, connected in my marriage, connected in my spiritual walk. So like you can have a word and it can take you different meanings of that word, right? And so I felt that in 2023 for sure. And so I know how powerful that word can be. And so this year, I wanted to be really sure that I picked the right word. Like I saw the fruit of picking connected last year and I was like, boom, that worked. Like I want more of that. Right. So I knew that this year, like I can feel this push that this year is going to be different. Like I can just feel that. And I heard it. And so things are going to start opening up. Things are going to be changing this year. And so I wanted to make sure that I picked the right word. And so I just kept saying to myself, like, whatever word this is, it has to be intentional. Like, I just can't willy nilly pick a word. Like, I want to pray about it. I want to talk to God about it. Like, it must be intentional. And so, one of my conversations that I was having with God, I was like, God, like, dude, like, I am really, really struggling with this word of the year thing. Like, I know it shouldn't be this hard. So, like, would you just like reveal the word already? Like, get on with this. Like, it's like past like New Year's resolution time. Like, we're almost mid-January. Like, I need to be getting on with this. That's just the project manager in me, the control freak. Okay, so let me tell you something. Some of you think that God doesn't have a sense of humor. Okay, just newsflash, he does. He really does. Because that soft whisper in that moment when I'm like, "Hey God, can we get on with this already?" He showed up in a loud voice. And it was like, hey, silly. Yeah, stop searching. I've given you the word 100 times now. You keep saying the word. You prayed the word to me." He's like, "I'm calling you, Jill, to a season of intentionality. I can't even say the word, but that's your word. So stop searching for it." I'm like, oh my gosh, duh. Of course, my word is intentionality. Okay. So, friends, in everything this year, that's just it. That's my word. That's what I want to be. I want to be intentional. And so it's why I delayed releasing an episode just to release an episode, right? I don't want to give you loosey-goosey content for the sake of just publishing an episode. Like I want every episode to be intentional, meaningful, impactful. Because hear me out. Like y'all know me pretty well, I think. But if you don't, I'm a pretty rigid, scheduled person. Like I like order in my life. I like to be productive. I like to be efficient. But I believe that God is really this season is doing a deeper work in me through that and through this intentional word. Because the thing that I have learned in my trust and faith walk is that I'm not in control. As much as I want to think that I'm in control, I am not in control. God is. I don't call the shots. God does. So in everything I do, I want to be intentional, but most importantly, I want to be intentionally seeking him for guidance on the words and wisdom that he lays on my heart so that I can share them with you, right? Because he knows your heart. He knows everything that you need to hear right now. I don't. But the awesome thing is, I can still live out my purpose and my calling, which my purpose is bringing light. And so I can still live out my purpose, which is bringing light through him. So I can shine a light on your life right now while you're driving to work, while you're getting ready this morning, while you're cleaning the house, because you see, he called me to bring light to others through the gifts that he's given me. Like I have natural gifts of communication. That's why I started a podcast. Duh. I love to talk. I love to hear myself talk. Don't you guys see that? Yeah. So I have gifts of communication. I have gifts of discernment. I have gifts of enablement. like, what the heck is enablement? It's basically just a fancy word for cheerleader, right? It's why I was a cheerleader in high school. Like, I love to motivate the hell out of you. That's the thing that lights me up. It brings me light when I can just be the cheerleader of your life and being like, yeah, girl, you superstar, go get it. I'm here for you. What do you need? Let's go, right? Like, I love that. And I love that he's called me to do that. Like, I get to do this as my job, as my career that brings me so much joy. Like, heck yeah, let's do it. So he gave me a joy to start literally a fire and light under your behind to get you moving and get you on the right path of life. And so I hope, uh, I'll be doing that. Number one, I hope I am like lighting a fire up under your butt right now. But hopefully every episode in this coming year will be impactful. It will be intentional. It'll be meaningful. I hope that it'll be released every other Wednesday on schedule as I would like it to be. But hear me out. If it's not, just know that something better is probably coming that's going to be probably more perfectly aligned for what you need to hear anyway. And it's going to be delivered to you exactly when you need to hear it. See, that's the cool thing. When you trust that everything is working out for you, you don't get so bent out of shape like I was all the time, like trying to have all my steps and plans in order. For the love of Pete, like, let it go. Listen, I'm preaching to you, but I'm preaching to myself too. So just hear me out on that. Okay. So here's where I'm at this year and why I really just wanted to come on and talk to you guys. Rest, obedience, and seeking intentional direction is my focus this year. So what about you? I want to ask you, what is your focus for 2024? Like, be intentional and truly ask yourself and pause right now and ask yourself that question. What is your focus for this year? Maybe a better way to ask that is, what do you need to let go of this year so that you can step into where God is calling you in this season of your life? So be intentional, ask yourself that question. What's God laying on your heart to focus on this season, this year? Is there a word, right? When I was talking about my word, was there a word that he was bringing to you to meditate on this year? And don't overthink it. Like, don't be a dummy like me and just keep asking, like, what's my word? What's my word? Like, if something just popped up in your mind, that's probably your word. Like, don't keep analyzing it. Just go with it. Okay. And so the last thing, there's another word that I just keep hearing and I really want to dismiss it. I really don't want to say it, but clearly I think you all need to hear this word as well. And that is patience. Patience and waiting. And this is really funny. My Zoom link just gave me a big thumbs up. It's been doing that lately. It's really, really weird. But clearly, universe says, yes, everybody is in agreement. They all need to hear this. We need patience and waiting. I know you're cringing right now. I know. I feel it too. Like, listen, I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old, both boys. Like, Lord help me. Like, I need patience with my kids. I need patience with my business. I need patience to not search and buy the super, super cute shirt that the girl in front of me today had on at the BMV. Like, come on, ladies. You hear me on this. It was really, really cute. It was really, really cute. And I feel like I need it, but I don't need it. But Amazon and a quick search makes it really easy for us to get that instant gratification, right? Am I right or am I right? I'm right. I know. Thank you. So we're living in this just instant gratification world. I see it in myself. I see it in my kids. I see it in my clients. I see it in my friendships. Like, it's everywhere. We want things now, and if we don't get it, we get really upset. We get really angry. We get worried. We get anxious. Like, insert the feeling that's showing up for you when you don't get what you don't want. No, insert the feeling that you feel when you don't get what you want. Is that what I said? I don't know. So, I mean, let's be real. I mean, I think about this and I think about Christmas, right? Like, how many of us cannot wait for Christmas, right? I mean, some of the peeps in my neck of the woods and in my neighborhood, like you all, they totally forgot that there is a holiday between Halloween and Christmas. Like, these poor pilgrims. Like, did we forget about the pilgrims? We forgot about the pilgrims, y'all. Like, it went from spiders and goblins to snowflakes, lights, reindeers, and tinsel. Like, that's where we're at. Right. And because of that, we had to bring this elf into the show. And so he shows up on December 1st because we have to have that magic like every single day for 25 days. Right. And we can't wait for Black Friday anymore. Like, Black Friday does not exist on Black Friday. Right. No, it's like the whole month of November now. Like, get your Black Friday deal now. Like, we're not going to wait until Black Friday. That's just crazy. Right. And then Starbucks, like, they're doing the same thing too. Like, the red solo cups are not solo cups. The red coffee cups are like, they're red November 1st. Like, we're not even waiting until December 1st. Nope. We're not even talking about the pilgrims or making orange cups. That's like old news October. So like we really hate to wait, right? And so I should not get angry as I'm talking about this out loud with y'all. Like, I really shouldn't blame my kids when they like wake up at 5 a.m. ready to unwrap Christmas presents when I just went to bed at 1 a.m. Like, they have waited for 2 months essentially of Christmas stuff, and they are ready to open up the presents. And so maybe you're listening, you're like, no, I can wait for Christmas. Like, it gives me so much anxiety, right? And so maybe as adults, like, we're not waiting for the Christmas presents, but we're waiting nonetheless. Like, we're always waiting for something. Like, we're waiting for the test results to come back. And we hope that they're positive, right? We're waiting for the end of the work week. God help us. We hate waiting for car repairs. We hate waiting for fast food. Like, fast food is never fast enough, right? Like, Jimmy John says they're freaky fast. They're not fast enough, right? Not for me. Like, come on, let's go. Like, we're waiting for the treatment to work. We're waiting for the raise. We're waiting for the promotion. We're waiting for our children to grow up and mature and not have to force them to go take a shower every single night. Like, waiting is difficult. Can you see I'm passionate about this? Because God is showing me, like, Jill, you've got to like work on that. So waiting really does. It has it's a whole host of situations, right? But here's the thing, and here's the thing I feel like God is really, really revealing to me in this season right now, is that there is good news. Like, God tells us that good things come to those that wait. James 5:7-11. Good things come to those that wait. And so James teaches us that in the Bible, and he shares it with this interesting like combination about perspective and patience and perseverance, because waiting is a challenge. But if we think back about, what I was talking about Christmas, and I was saying, like, for us adults, like, getting up Christmas morning, like, we're excited, but like, that's not like what we're dying, like waiting for, right? Like, it gets much easier for us as we get older, right? We have some years under our belt. Like, we have a better perspective on the true meaning of Christmas, right? There's a larger scope of life. And so having the proper perspective and expectations, like, makes a big difference in how we wait. And so I say all that to say, I have seen the fruit of waiting starting to grow in my life. And I just told you before, like, I am a person who I struggle with that, but 2023 was a year where God was really showing me that to be patient in the wait, right? And not get ahead of myself. Like, I don't control it. And so that fruit has really started to grow in my life. And this year I'm being asked to go deeper, like to be more intentional in my business, more intentional in my spiritual walk, more intentional in my connections, more intentional in my relationships, more intentional in the communication that I'm giving to you, my listeners, my followers. So to sum it up, intentionality, gosh, I cannot say that word, you guys, and it's my word of the year. How about this? Being intentional requires patience. Being intentional requires patience because listen, when the seed is planted, that's not the same time that that fruit is going to be harvested, right? Like intentionality will produce good fruit, but it will require more time. It will require more nurturing. It will require a whole lot more patience. And so some of you have this nudge, you have this feeling, you have a calling that you have been asked to respond to. You're being asked to sit down and listen to it. So don't dismiss that seed. Don't dismiss that nudge that you're feeling because I promise you, it truly is life giving. Like tap into that seed that's being planted in your heart and your life and just lean in a little bit. Like be curious about it. Sit with it. Nurture the seed. Breathe life on it by talking with others about it. Sharing with others like what you feel is being placed on your heart. Like there's a lot of great people out there that I keep getting connected to. And if I just open my heart just a little bit enough to somebody, they can breathe light on that and say, oh my gosh, me too. Or, oh my gosh, Jill, I see that in you. Why are you not taking action on that? Right? So they can give you perspective. So have patience. I promise you, it will grow. You will grow. The season you're in right now will grow if you sit with it, you listen, you be obedient. I promise you, just be patient. So this intentional break that I've been on has truly been really life-giving. Like I felt like something was just off like a few months back. And instead of doing the typical high achiever Jill move that I usually do, which is just push through it, just get, well, whatever, I don't know what that is, but just keep push through it, dismiss it, uh, just going about it in my own way. Instead, I took a different approach, and I truly believe the result of the pause, the intentionality to seek direction will be a game changer in the way that I engage with you on this podcast. It will be a game changer on the guests that are going to be on the show. I believe that they're going to be much more impactful. And then I also believe that the connections and relationships that's forming will also be fruitful and they'll be purposeful. And so lastly, one more thing, with intentionality also comes, to me, transparency. And so my hope is that you'll feel this shift of even more authenticity in this podcast. And there'll be more transparency of what's really going on behind the scenes. What's going on behind the Your Life, Your Story podcast? What's going on behind the scenes of Jill's life? So with that, I hope as I referenced at the beginning of the podcast, I hope my all out days when I have things that are going on behind the scenes and I'm having that all out day moment, my hope is that this year, those behind the scene moments will start to be more shared with you. And the reason for that is I truly believe in the power of storytelling. It's the way that we really relate to one another. So I'm doing you a disservice by not sharing my stories with you, and vice versa in your life. You're doing a disservice by holding things in and not being open and transparent and reaching out to the connections that are around you. And so as you heard me share a little bit on this podcast, I'm feeling this strong nudge to dive deeper into my faith. And so you will hear me speak openly about God and the things that he's doing in my life and the lives of others. And so I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to so much more like collaborating and celebrating in 2024 and just kind of less comparison, right? Like, let's celebrate one another. Let's cheer on other women and men that are doing great things. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to more authentic conversations and transparency so that others feel like inclusive, like they feel like, oh, you too, right? Me too. Like, we're not alone in this life. Like, we are so not alone in this life. Somebody, I promise you, is going through exactly what you're going through. Trust me. I'm looking forward also to just the incredible lineup of women who are going to be guest hosts on the show that have a heart to like serve and minister to women and men in this community. Like, we can all learn a lot by the people that are going to be on the show. So excited for the guests that are coming up here soon. I've already recorded a few already, so that's going to be awesome. So truly, I just wanted to come on and share kind of what's been going on behind the scenes. What is my expectations as I walk into 2024, and as you, my awesome listeners, continue to follow what's ahead. So I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for your continued support. I thank you to those of you that continue to share this podcast. Like, please keep doing so. Please. Thank you. And if you do love the show and you haven't left a review yet, like, now would be a great time to do that. I love, love, love to hear what you, my listeners, enjoy. I love to hear what's resonating with you. So send me a message on social media, send me an email, share the podcast with your friends, your colleagues, other followers that you follow on social media, and give a 5-star rating if you've been enjoying the podcast. And written reviews are awesome too, because I got to hear your words. And speaking of words, before we go, I would love to know your word of the year too. So email it to me, DM, drop it in one of the testimonials, and maybe I can be intentional about creating episodes around some of your words of the year. So I don't know. Sounds like that might be fun. So let me know what your word of the year is. And I just love you all. I thank you so much for listening. Your reviews, your ratings really do help. So please continue to keep doing so. 2024 is going to be a great year. I feel that for all of you. So go out, make it a great day, continue to be you, love life, and rise up. Actually, wait. I forgot to tell you about an incredible event backed by popular demand. We're hosting it again. The 828 retreat is coming back. So this is a retreat for you to be exactly what we just talked about today, to be intentional. Like, if you're feeling that nudge, like, you know what? I've been feeling that nudge that something needs to change. I've been feeling that nudge that I'm being called into something. I've been feeling that nudge that says, I need to know my purpose. I need to get more in light with what God has for me, right? If you're feeling that, then I want to invite you to the 828 retreat. We hosted this last year. You probably heard me talk about it last year. The reviews were incredible. People were asking, when are we hosting that again? I want to make sure that my family, my friends, my colleagues know about it. So it's a full day women's retreat from 9 to 4 on Friday, March 8th. So mark your calendars now. This is for women who desire to live their life on purpose. We're going to give you tools and resources that day to really dive into what matters most in your life. Where are you hitting a roadblock in your life that's keeping you stuck in situations, places, things that you know you don't belong in, right? You know you have a greater purpose on your life, but you're struggling to achieve it. At this retreat, we give you an assessment that you'll take. It takes about 5 minutes. and it is the most accurate on purpose assessment you'll find. So it's a 2-word purpose statement. We'll give you that assessment. It's included in your ticket. We give you lunch, we give you breakfast, and then a huge workbook that we're going to dive into, but yet we also give you resources to just continue that walk into exploring your purpose, your gifts, your talents, your strengths, like what makes you you. Like, I think every one of us wants to know, like, who the heck am I, right? Why was I created? What's my purpose? So this is an awesome retreat to start that journey. So I hope that you join us. You can find out all the details. I'll include it in the show notes below. Just click on the 828 retreat. And I hope that I'll be able to meet you in person there. So don't wait. We keep that retreat small. So about 20 to 25 women. So those will fill up very fast. So go ahead and get your ticket right now and share it with a friend. All right. Now you can go out and be you and love life and rise up. Take care.